What's up, Hellraiser? Welcome back to yet again another book review. I know it's been a long time since I've been on camera talking about a book or movie or whatever, but today's video is going to be Rotten Tommy by David Sodergren. Yes, I finished this book about a week ago and I didn't forget to do the review. I had a lot going on, but we're back with another book review, and that's Rotten Tommy. Before we get into all the good, the bad, and the ugly, let me give a little bit of plot of what this book is about. This book tells a story about a woman who finds some missing tapes inside of her wall in her home, and all of a sudden she quickly realized that these tapes is showing her some things that she might have forgotten about, and also showing her her missing mother along the way. And it also show her that, hey, your mother actually might still be alive. So yeah, that is Rotten Tommy by David Sodergren. So to kick things off with my first pro, I will have to say the opening of the book. The opening of this book might be the most intense opening I've read by David Sodergren, and I might say that in the next book that I read by him. But yeah, this opening grabs you by the throat and just start pulling you right through the entire book, because oh my God, I'm not gonna spoil anything about the opening, but I would just say that the way David decided to open up this book, it takes place in 1988, and then I believe it's 1988. Let me double check real quick. 1984. It takes place in 1984, and my God, once that opening kicked in, and what David writes in that opening and the things that happen is very graphic. I would say that. Check for your trigger warning. But yeah, it's definitely graphic. It opens up with a bang and it doesn't stop there. It keeps going. Another thing I would say I do like about the book is the pacing. Now, if you have never read a David Sodergren book and you have no idea what David writing is, David, to me, is one of the best horror writers working today, and that says a lot. But yeah, like the pacing of this book is very well done. Like each page you turn, you are so invested. It took me a week to read this book. I would have been done a lot sooner. It probably would have took me 2 days. But remember, I do a lot of working, and so it took me a week to finally get through this book. But every time I find myself reading this book, I was just so invested with turning every freaking page. And David, keep writing, buddy. We need more. And another thing about this book is I think might not be on a lot of people review is I love the aesthetic, you know, like the atmosphere of the book, the tension that David writes in Rotten Tommy, especially with Rotten Tommy. We'll get there in a second, but the atmosphere and like the aesthetic of the book, it just feels so eerie, and just like, especially when our main lead Becky is watching the tape, and the way David describes through Becky what she's seeing, and like the aesthetic and the atmosphere and the tension and then like that sense of dread, knowing that something is always watching. Oh my goodness. This book really did create a picture in my head that I would never forget. And another pro for me will have to be Tommy, Jack. That's his other name. But he is so creepy. I just can't help but to think. Now, I'm a gamer. I can't help but to think that Rotten Tommy, that David took some inspiration for Rotten Tommy from Nemesis, the video game in Resident Evil. I wonder, was that intentional or am I overthinking it? I'm pretty sure that was intentional. But yeah, Tommy himself is just so creepy. 7 foot tall, an unstoppable freaking force that does not stop until he get his physical hand on somebody. And my God, that David delivered with the gruesome kills, and I love it. And I'm here for more, and I'm gonna get more every time I read a David Sodergren's book. And to follow up with that, with Rotten Tommy, Jack, if you will, is the kill. We already talked about it, but man, the kill, especially the hospital scene. The hospital scene read the book to know what I'm talking about. I don't want to spoil it because you have to read it for yourself and use your imagination to benefit from it. But the kills in this book, all the kills, is graphic and gruesome ASF. And like I said before, and I said again, I'm here for it. And another thing about this book is I do like the 90s vibe that the book kind of have with Becky watching the tape. I do love the vibe. I don't know why I put quotes on that. But anyway, I do love the vibe, like the aesthetic that goes with the atmosphere as well. But I do like how the tape has like that little old VHS gritty look. Yeah, I'm that old, people. And I love how like the tape had like the flickers and they have on like the blue screen that pops up and then everything is almost hard to make out. I love how David described that. And if I could go back to them days, I will. And to follow up with that, which is the TV show with Rumper Jack / Rotten Tommy. I think that the tapes are very well done. There's only 3 of them. And so David is giving you so little, but it makes you want to go back and read the book to see if you can find or look at the book in a different perspective, which is kind of like Maggie's Grave, but I would not say it's on the level of Maggie's Grave, but in terms of what my grade is, you'll be shocked. But I do like the flickers and all that kind of stuff when it come down to the TV show. And my final pro will have to be Becky. I think Becky is a very relatable character. And I feel like Becky is one of those characters that I can relate to a lot, even though it doesn't really matter with the agenda, but I feel like she is a very relatable character. And certain things about Becky I had kind of like connected with and related to. But I feel like that David knew exactly what he wanted with Becky. And I don't want to spoil too much because it ties into the plot. I'm trying to be extra careful with my words, really careful with my words. But yeah, that's gonna wrap up this. So before I end the review, I also want to give my grade. So I give this book a 5-star. This is definitely a 5-star book. And like I said before, I said again, I don't really give out a lot of 5 stars. And David managed to get his second 5-star out of me. And that, like I said before, I said again, that says a lot. So HELLRAISERS, if you want to get in touch with your boy, remember, social media link will always be in the description down below. And before I let you go, make sure you consider dropping a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on that bell notification. That way when I drop another lit video for the channel, you'll be the first ones to get it. And I hope to catch you HELLRAISERS in my next video. Peace.